Some stories start as family gossip and end somewhere much darker. This one starts with a question that seems almost too strange to take seriously. How has no one in the family ever met their relative's girlfriend in 10 years of supposedly dating? And it ends somewhere none of them were prepared for. Tonight's story comes from a woman trying to untangle a lie so elaborate, so sustained, and so specific that she wasn't sure whether to laugh, call a lawyer, or both. This is her story, in her own words. Her brother-in-law, she calls him Jim, has supposedly been dating the same woman for 10 years. We'll call her Brady. They met when Jim was a student teacher, and Brady was still in high school. He was an adult. She was not. OP has been with her husband since 2018, and in all that time, no one in the family has ever met Brady. Not at holidays, not at family reunions, not at their wedding. There's always been an excuse. And yet, Jim talks about her constantly. He knows the names and ages of her nieces and nephews. He shows the family pictures. He tells them where she works. He's discussed moving closer to her. His own mother has heard him call Brady on the phone, heard him say "sweetie," and confirmed she's on his phone plan. A few years ago, the family was at a pumpkin patch when they ran into Brady's sister. The same sister Jim talks about warmly all the time, whose kids he knows by name. Jim immediately bolted in the opposite direction. That was strange, but nobody pushed it. A few weeks ago, OP decided to follow Brady on Instagram and invite her to her son's birthday. She'd never met her. It seemed like a kind gesture. She noticed immediately that Brady's Instagram had no pictures of Jim. Brady is not a private poster. Her feed is active. Brady replied and said she has not spoken to Jim in 10 years. Jim texted OP within moments. He told her not to talk to Brady. A minute later, he texted again and told her to block Brady entirely. When Jim showed up at OP's office the next day, he was nervous. Couldn't make eye contact. He told her Brady had been overwhelmed by the kind gesture of being reached out to, that Brady's mom had even called, upset on her behalf. He told her husband something slightly different. Neither version explained why Brady had said they hadn't spoken in a decade. OP messaged Brady's cousin through a mutual friend. The cousin was floored. Brady has brought multiple different men to family events over the past 10 years. She recently had another boyfriend. She hasn't mentioned Jim once since they were supposedly secretly dating when she was a minor and he was her student teacher. OP reached out to Brady one more time. She wanted to make sure Brady was okay, that this wasn't some kind of distress situation. Brady told her she wasn't overwhelmed. She was confused about why Jim is still talking about her. She confirmed she has had zero contact with him in 10 years and has absolutely no intention of ever speaking to him again. She said she was genuinely creeped out to learn how much he knows about her life. Then, OP asked the question that needed asking. How does Jim know all of these specific details? The niece and nephew names, the dog, the health issues, the job. Brady's response: none of it is true. She doesn't even have his phone number. Then came the piece that explained everything and nothing. Brady called her mother. Her mother admitted she had stayed in touch with Jim over the years, just talking about life. Brady was blindsided. She got into a huge argument with her mother. She feels her privacy has been completely violated. Then, OP mentioned that Jim had recently brought up Brady's dog and a story about one of her friends accidentally feeding it grapes. Brady said, "That actually happened." But she had only told her immediate family and close friends. Which means Jim wasn't getting general updates. He was getting specific, real-time details from someone who had no idea what they were enabling. The comments landed hard and fast. The consensus was unanimous. Jim is not a man who lost touch with a girlfriend. He is a man who has been silently building a fantasy around a woman who moved on, fed by a pipeline of information from her own mother, possibly alongside something far more invasive. The detail that haunted everyone most was the timing. OP messages Brady. Jim texts OP within moments. He knew immediately. Several commenters pointed out there is really only one explanation for that, and none of the possibilities are reassuring. What makes this story so difficult to sit with isn't the strangeness of it, though it is undeniably strange. It's the patience. 10 years of maintaining a fiction, incident by incident, detail by detail, in front of family, co-workers, and anyone who would listen. 10 years of knowing the names of children he's never met. 10 years of keeping up enough specific, real information to make the lie feel real. To his mother, to his brother, to everyone in his orbit. Think about the architecture of what he built. He had to keep the stories consistent. He had to have an excuse ready every single time a family event came up. For 10 years, across holidays, weddings, reunions. He had to perform grief convincingly when his brother showed him a photo of Brady kissing someone else at a Halloween party, then pick up the fiction again 5 months later as if nothing had happened. The bolting at the pumpkin patch makes sense now in the worst possible way. He didn't run from Brady's sister because he didn't know her. He ran because she knows him, and she knows Brady, and she knows the truth. Brady's mother thought she was just talking about life. Jim was building a world. Here's where Wren lands on this one. Jim needs help that his family isn't equipped to give him and probably hasn't wanted to look directly at for a very long time. His brother said himself he doesn't want to touch this with a 10-foot stick, because looking at it clearly means accepting that someone he loves has been living inside a delusion for a decade, sustained by people who had no idea what they were enabling. Brady deserves to know the full scope of what she's been living adjacent to. She deserves to protect her accounts, her privacy, her sense of safety, from something she didn't even know was there. And OP, who started this whole thing by extending a kind birthday invitation to a woman she'd never met, deserves credit for not looking away once the truth started to surface. Some things, once you see them clearly, can't be unseen. And some people, once they know, don't stop until the right person knows too. More whispers are coming. Follow Wren so you never miss one. I'll see you in the shadows.